From that first impression, when a customer walks through your door, to how well your assets perform every day, you're the ones leading the way. Today, you're facing a changing world, which means you're tackling more challenges than ever before. You're embracing the unknown, making strategic decisions, and finding fresh, innovative ways to run your business. You've risen to the challenge, you have momentum, and no one is going to slow you down. And you know, transparency and data are key to moving your business forward. ServiceChannel provides you with the insights you need to reduce costs, improve quality, ensure compliance, and be confident in every decision, so you can focus on what's ahead. ServiceChannel is with you every step of the way. We will continue to move forward. We will build a better future, together.
Hello everybody and welcome to ServiceX 2020, Building a Better Future Together. We're excited for our first ever virtual event and probably your 900th this year. Thanks for joining us. We understand how busy you are and we appreciate that you're likely as zoomed out as we are. But typically when we get together, we tend to have a good time, learn a few things from each other and really enjoy the interactions. And our goal this year is to keep that record going as well. There are some really good things about virtual events. No travel hassles or out of the office days. So we're getting more participants this year than ever before. With the magic of video, we'll be able to show more cameo spots from special guests. And hey, most importantly, the bar bill this year is going to be a lot lower than last year, which is great for us. I say this all the time, we're very proud of the company we keep, and we're always humbled at the wide range of our partnerships with you. It's tough to call for a show of hands here, but here's a shout out to the 70 or so of you who we've been lucky enough to serve for 10 or more years. Thanks for your patience, thanks for your persistence, and thanks for your pushing. You've made us a lot better, and you've made us a lot better for everybody else, including those approximately 100 of you who are new to ServiceChannel in the last 12 months. Hope to see all of you here in 10 years as well. Now, there are another about 400 of you who have been with us between 2 and 9 years. We love you just as much as the others, but even virtual events have time constraints. So thank you very much. You'll get a slide next year. And of course, I'd like to welcome the folks at this event who are not currently ServiceChannel customers, but who we hope to have the privilege of working with very soon. We really encourage you to chat up our customers during the show and afterwards. In my experience, they don't bite that hard, and they'll always give you the straight scoop. So thanks for spending some time with us, and we hope to see you all in person at ServiceX 2021. Okay, we're excited to dig in now for the next few days. And before we do a quick check on the agenda, let's just take a minute to acknowledge the year this has been. Captain Obvious here, 2020 has clearly been a year unlike any other one we've ever seen, and of course, it's not even over yet. I keep feeling like I'm a character in a video game called Escape from 2020. It was our backup theme for the show. The marketing department wouldn't let me go with it, though. There's no need to rehash the challenges of this year, but it's very clear that it's affected everybody, both personally and professionally. And as an industry, we've been asked to step up and step in like never before. Talk about a need for resilience and innovation. I mean, have you ever been asked to do more with less? To hit such a moving target in terms of new expectations? And to solve more unprecedented challenges under these kind of circumstances? Probably not. We wanted to give a few shout outs to all the resilient innovators of 2020 out there, including Jamie Swan at Island Energy Services in Hawaii. At the onset of COVID, Jamie quickly reconfigured her system and workflows to ensure that only emergency situations were handled on site and everything else got routed to headquarters. This allowed her locations to reopen quicker, at lower cost, and in the safest manner for their employees and customers. Great stuff, Jamie. Or how about Josh Coulter at Orify Brands, which builds and manages locations for Five Guys, Melt Shop, The Little Beat, and Feel Good Chicken. A very, very tasty portfolio indeed. Josh took our COVID reopening playbook, customized it for each of his brands, and managed one of the most smoothest and most successful reopenings in the country. Terrific. Congrats, Josh. And it seems like we always are calling out Habit Burger for doing some great things. Let's wind the clock back to the week of March 18th this year. It seems like 25,000 days ago. Remember that week? Well, during that week, among just a few other things, Habit Burger was acquired by Yum Brands. Talk about a juggling act. Get acquired, start the integration process with a new company, close your locations, pivot to curbside and pop-up drive-thrus, then open your locations again with 100% safety in mind, and oh yeah, go finish the details of the acquisition. And they did it all. Simply amazing. Kudos to Rob and the entire Habit Burger team. And congratulations to all of you for elevating your game and working through these circumstances. When we're all in our retirement rocking chairs, I'm sure we'll all remember how everyone rose to the challenges of 2020. And a lot of others have noticed as well, especially executives who, in the past, may not have fully understood or appreciated the impact you all make every day. I know that many of you got to know your CEO a little bit better this year. I loved the one story that one of you shared with me. Thanks, Jordan. When you broke into a cold sweat as your CEO's mobile phone kept popping up on your phone every day, and how quickly you became everyday speed dial buddies. Hey, senior execs out there, what do you think of your facilities team now?
Like so many companies, the pandemic and social protests put our operations in uncharted territory. There's really no playbook on how to protect stores in times like this. Over the past several months, our facilities team has been handling thousands of issues quickly and efficiently to keep the core of our business operational. The team has worked tirelessly, overnight in many cases, to keep our stores open and operable while ensuring the health and safety of our operators and our customers. It's a challenging job, and to our facilities team, I just want to say a sincere thank you.
Hi, this is Danny Meyer, CEO of Union Square Hospitality Group and founder of Shake Shack. As I think about the myriad number of challenges that we've all faced in 2020, unlike anything any of us has ever experienced, I am especially grateful for anyone who's been involved with facilities management. You're a group of people whose work often goes unnoticed until something breaks. We notice. We're in a time when things work and when things are safe. That is the epitome of what is going to make customers come back. And we need what you do more than ever. Thank you, and keep up the amazing work.
Hi, I'm Scott Lowak, CEO and founder of Fit Athletic Club. 2020 has shown us how important it is to have an amazing facilities management function. It's never been more important to keep our locations clean, safe, and ready for our customers. It's never been harder either, with ever-changing health codes, cleaning protocols, and customer expectations. The bar is higher, the expectations are more rigorous. So to all facilities teams who have stepped it up this year to help us continue servicing our customers, we thank you.
Thanks, everyone, for those words, and let's stand up and give yourselves and each other a big hand. It's the home exercise portion of the show. Okay, let's take a quick peek at the agenda so you can dial in your dial-in times. We're going to keep things short, punchy, relevant, and as customer-driven and interactive as possible. The first thing I want everyone to know is that you can chat with anyone else at any time during the event. The chat function will be on at all times. You can post questions to us, post questions among yourselves, or just catch up with your colleagues. We're shooting for the same level of conversation as if we were all here. We'll also be hosting on Wednesday and Thursday mornings and afternoons a series of peer sessions where you can join your colleagues and jam on a wide range of topics, just like you were sitting at the bar, kinda, almost. We'll moderate, you talk amongst yourselves. After the keynote today, starting tomorrow morning, we'll have a series of 7 breakout sessions, and we'll do them twice each to accommodate different time zones. Thanks to each of our customer speakers who have volunteered to share their stories about new best practices to further reduce their costs, improve their quality, and increase compliance. In parallel to the breakout sessions, we'll be providing custom Scout provider optimization sessions. This is really important, where we will use some of our new data science and analytics to help you assess and design a more optimal provider network. How much can you save? How much faster can work get done? What's the impact on better first-time completion? We'll take a look at all of that for your specific provider network using your data and a range of industry benchmarks. These start this afternoon and continue through the end of Thursday. Note that these sessions have been previously reserved, but if you didn't get a chance to sign up for one yet, the great news is that our team has agreed to play overtime and handle more incoming requests. So just talk to your account manager or CSM or hit the ServiceX.com website where, by the way, all the information on our agenda and sessions is posted. And again, feel free to chat away all day, every day. By the way, invite your colleagues from work to stop in and participate, invite your family and friends, invite your pets, invite everybody. There's a lot of room here. This is the real world in 2020. We know there's other stuff going on in your lives. And finally, for you competitive folks out there, and for those of you who like free stuff, who doesn't like free stuff, we'll actually be awarding points for everything you do in the next few days. Not everything. I mean, you take a lunch break or have a cocktail, you're not getting points for that. But attend a session, ask some questions, answer some questions, and you'll gather points that are redeemable for free stuff at this year's ServiceChannel swag store. So participate early and often. These next few days are all about you, and we'll try to limit talking about ourselves. But for a minute, I want to give you an annual update that's mostly about us, because I think it's important that if we're indeed going to build a better future together, that you continue to have visibility and confidence in our strategy, our plans, and our ability and intention to keep investing in our mutual success. In the past year, we've added people, we've added expertise, we've added funding, and we're adding some new offerings to respond to our new world together. First, some of the easy stats. We've added over 80 new people in 2020 to make sure you have the support you need and that our product continues to evolve. We now have over 400 employees around the globe working to get you what you need around the clock. We're in a very good financial position, and we plan on investing even more than we have in the past to make sure our products and solutions get better and better. And as I mentioned from time to time, we run the company at zero profit, break-even mode and invest every dollar we make back into the company for growth. We think it's just more important to play for the long run, and as you all know, it is a long run, and there is still a long way to go in solving everyone's challenges. We think a big part of the magic that happens on the way to better solutions is to invest in and combine both very strong technology and deep industry expertise. It's important that we understand and are empathetic to everything going on in your world and that we're speaking the same language. But it's equally important that we can convert it to solutions with software, automation, and data to make things easier and more precise for you. It's a balance and an investment we need to keep on both fronts, and when it's done right, it's a pretty magical combination. So a big part of our investment over the past 12 months has been to bolster the ServiceChannel team with more industry experience and depth. More folks who have been FMs, many new employees who are trade specialists, some who are brokers, and some who actually work for outsourcers. We've now brought in about 60 folks who have walked the walk with facilities and service providers, totaling over 500 years of collective experience. And that's before they got to ServiceChannel. These folks are going to be critical for some of our new offerings. And before I touch on those new offerings, I want to just quickly reflect on a few of the major themes we're hearing from you, especially since March. See if any of these sound familiar. Number one, we have fewer resources. Layoffs, furloughs, the general economic conditions caused by the pandemic, and that's not likely to change in 2021. There's no miraculous budget comebacks coming anytime soon. Number two, we're living with more elevated expectations. The bar has been set higher. Cost constraints, quality considerations, corporate compliance, tougher standards than ever before. Number three, let's face it, we've all had some disruption in our service provider networks. And number four, and what makes this all even harder, is that we need to manage almost everything more remotely. Tougher to visit locations, tougher to be there in person, tougher to have planning meetings all together. And maybe because of these four trends, we've been getting more requests to help you do more, to help address some additional parts of the equation. So as we move on here, just to level set, all of the offerings we're about to describe all use our software and data as a foundation. We're not about the ad hoc. We're not making it up as we go along. Everything's based on automation and data. And with a little sprinkle of expertise, we think we can help you to do even more with less in this crazy new world. Okay, now, spoiler alert for everybody. Although some of the things I'm going to describe may sound a little bit like things you've tried in the past with other people, I can assure you they're quite different. We're using a lot more automation and a lot more data to save you a lot more time and money while giving you a lot better quality and control. So here's how we look at it. Traditionally, when you become a ServiceChannel customer, you get the software, you run the software, you choose your service providers, and you manage all the performance and outcomes of the work. It's in your court. It's classic software as a service, and most of you do it in a DIY fashion, do-it-yourself fashion. You pretty much run the software yourselves, slot your favorite service providers, and away you go. But increasingly, we're hearing that resource constraints and the other trends we just talked about are standing in the way of you doing all of those things, or at least being able to do them at the levels you need to or want to. So we've begun to offer some more, we'll call it DIFM, do-it-for-me solutions. Let's just start, again, as an example with the software. Again, most of you run it yourself to get the benefits. But there are a number of you who have asked us to help you manage the keyboard and manage the workflow within the system. That's great. We have facilities coordinators to do that, and we'll continue to offer you the ability to do everything yourself, or we can do parts of it for you, or some combination of the two, whatever works best for you, right? Now, let's move on to provider selection and sourcing. Traditionally, something that you've always done in a DIY fashion, of course, with your procurement teams and other folks internally. In 2019, we began a program to see if the data across our now 130 million transactions and work orders could help you find better service providers based upon your needs for cost, quality, compliance, and speed. So in that period of time, we've hired a bunch of data scientists and analysts to dig into the data. And over the course of the past 12 months, about 100 of you have tried our new Scout program. By the way, just a reference here, the name Scout is a reference to the book and movie Moneyball. And if you aren't familiar with that, it's the true story of when baseball scouts began using detailed statistics and sabermetrics to identify talent and performance in Major League Baseball players. Everybody does it now. All the teams do it now. But for 100 years, baseball scouts made those judgments by feel without any data. This may ring a bell for many of you in our specific industries, and we certainly see the parallels and opportunities for improvement as well. So with Scout, we have strong evidence and confidence we can identify areas for you, geographic, trade-specific, where you can do better. And we'll recommend different service providers whose data and track record would indicate that they can deliver better results for you. Who doesn't want better results? This year, thus far, we've done over 35,000 Scout work orders. Again, these are work orders where our data suggests that you could do better if you change providers. And indeed, many of you went ahead and made the change. Well, how's it working? How's it playing out? Well, here's what you and we are seeing. And of course, I'm going to present some averages here, right? Your mileage is going to vary based on trade, geography, and who your existing providers are and who you switch to. But if you compare those 35,000 Scout work orders to norms, the costs are 20 to 30% lower as a result of lower pricing, faster resolution times, and in some cases, circumventing brokers to get to great self-performers directly. First-time completion rates improved by 25 to 30%. It's pretty good. Recall rates improved by about 20%. And the number of work orders that need to be escalated to kind of manual intervention and manual touching and manipulation is down by about a quarter. So why not look at the data? Like Moneyball, it's real and it works. The numbers don't lie, and this is likely to become a very important part of the future together with us. Now, some of you have said, that's cool, I watched the movie, I read the book, but I want to be my own Scout. I want to be my own guy. I want to do the numbers. I want to figure it out. That's great, we get it. And that's why we're starting to put the Scout algorithms into a new and exciting search capability that's going to become a fundamental part of the ServiceChannel software platform. You'll be hearing more about this throughout the show, but what it means is that if you want to optimize and improve your service provider network, you'll soon be able to do it yourself with very advanced tools, or with our help, or both. Again, whatever works best for you. Regardless, it's totally based on the data, and we're pretty convinced you're going to love the results. Okay, let's take this one step further. In the last 9 months since COVID hit, a number of you indicated that, again, due to short staffing levels and elevated and changing expectations, you've needed more help in proactively managing the actual performance and outcomes related to cost and quality and compliance. And that you didn't have as much confidence going into this phase in going back to an outsourced or brokered model with someone you know was already stacking the cost or giving you non-transparent work with little or no data. That is so 2019 and before, right? Again, this is something that we believe we can be dramatically improving with the help of software, data, and close monitoring. Now, a number of you have already engaged with us for our new ServiceChannel managed solution, and now is a good time to explain it to the rest of you in some detail. So think of it as a logical extension to helping you run the software and helping you to select the best contractors. The additional DIFM, Do It For Me feature with our managed offering is that we'll actively manage and monitor the contractors and the work to help you achieve the performance and outcomes, the cost goals, the quality goals, the compliance goals that your executives have asked you to deliver. We'll even pay the contractors for you if that's easier for you. But most of all, this is super important, we will ensure that they prioritize you and perform for you, which in this world is getting to be a bigger and bigger challenge every day. Okay, so I know a lot of you out there are kind of elbowing each other and joking around and asking the question, hey, ServiceChannel, are you becoming an IFM? Are you becoming a broker? What's the deal? The answer is a very resounding no. But we are becoming more of an automated, data-driven solution that can replace them. Can replace them, A, at lower cost. We're not going through inefficient manual processes or middlemen. We're using the automation and data in our platform to be more efficient than they ever could be. B, with better quality. We're focused on the best providers, not by reputation, but by objective data and empirical evidence. And they know we're tracking and monitoring how they perform job by job. We're watching, they know we're watching. We're measuring, they know we're measuring. And C, with more control. With full transparency and access to the data, you'll always know exactly who's doing the work, how much they're charging, how well they're doing. It's a lot easier to control things if you always know and aren't guessing what's going on at your locations. It's more efficient, it's more automated, it's more data-driven, it's more transparent, and importantly, it's a lot less expensive. And as you dig in and learn more, you'll find that our incentives are aligned, much more so than what you're probably dealing with today. So, in summary, more ways to engage and partner. For the first time ever, you can think of us as your technology provider and as your service provider. Someone who can help you with the software, recommending and selecting the best service providers, and helping you to manage your outcomes to get to the next level. Thanks. You'll be hearing more about all of these solutions over the next few days, and I really encourage you to ask a ton of questions, get more information, and think about how we can build a better future together. Okay, it's data download time. We had some fun with this last year, so let's share some interesting data tidbits from 2020. By the way, we've now accumulated data records of 130 million work orders, and I'm not sure if you know, but each work order contains literally hundreds of data points, some of which are highlighted on this slide. That means we pick up almost 5 billion new data points per year, and obviously we have a lot more data to work from than ever before. So let's take a look at some data that's decidedly 2020-ish. And we'll start with an overview story for the year thus far, as told by the insightful eyes of our good friend, the work order. So you've all seen a lot of maps this year, and I'm sure you've been zigging and zagging based upon what various maps have been showing you throughout the year. Here's another view, one that we've been watching really closely. I'm going to flip through a series of monthly maps here. The colors represent the growth of work orders from month to month. Green means strong growth. Red means strong decline. And the yellows and oranges in the middle, you know the drill, right? Here's January to February 2020. The year got off to a great start. Everyone picking up the deferred maintenance and projects from the end of 19. A pretty normal start from what we've seen in the past. Hey, what could go wrong? Well, let's look at February to March. Remember that time? I know it seems like just yesterday to everybody, but take a peek at the Northeast in particular. The places that were hit hard first, cutting back as things slowed down in a real hurry. Slowdowns and shutdowns means fewer work orders. And as you can tell, great hindsight here, it's 2020, good pun, right? The rest of the country was a bit further behind. And as we moved into April and the first wave of widespread shelters in place and closures, you can see more of a widespread slowdown in work orders throughout the country. May was the month that reopenings began to happen, somewhat controversially at that time, and you can see that the Northeast was still reacting more slowly to reopen as they had come off a few very tough months. And as we move into June, there's a lot more tapping of the brakes around the country. You see a lot less green in June. And of course, we get to July, and it continues the reaction of general caution. And then to August, where the eastern seaboard is turning green, indicating more comfort in moving ahead with reopenings, more work orders. And there's still some hesitation in the Midwest and West. Now, we're not showing you this because we think we have a weather predicting tool or work order predicting tool. We're just mapping the work orders here over time to see where the data leads us and what it can tell us. But we do want to let you know that we have this data, and it may come in handy for you, especially if we go through some scenarios with multiple waves where you have to do some planning and modeling up front. You don't need to do it blindly. You've felt this, we've measured it, and now it's there if and when you need it. Now let's take a different view of some related data, which will also translate into an entry-level course in economics. You can call it Econ 101, supply and demand. We broke the year into 3 equal 11-week segments, January 1 through March 15th, which we're calling before, March 16th through May 31st, which we're calling after, June 1 through August 15th, which we're calling since. We then looked at the number of work orders that we processed in each time frame, the number of active providers, those who processed at least one work order in that time frame, the responsiveness of providers as measured by their open to dispatch confirmation time, and finally, and very importantly, the average invoice cost during each of these phases. Let's first look at the before period, which will serve as our baseline. So in that period of time, we processed over 4.3 million work orders. About 23,000 service providers were involved in performing that work. The average confirmation time was a bit over 2 days, and the average invoice was $1,034. Now, if you look at the 11 weeks following, the after period, as we've called it, in the midst of the major shutdowns and shelters, work orders were down by almost a quarter. About 20% fewer service providers were involved. The average response time more than doubled, no surprise there, and the average invoice went up a bit over 7%. Makes total sense. None of that is too hard to believe. Now let's fast forward to the since time frame, June through August segments. Work orders have rebounded to the exact same level as before the pre-pandemic phase. We still have 12% fewer providers doing the same amount of work as in the before period. Same demand, lower supply. We think about that. Response times are back and more in line, but the price keeps creeping up to a bit over 9% above where it was earlier in the year. Same demand, same number of work orders, less supply, 12% fewer service providers doing that same amount of work, price is up 9.3%. I think someone can probably write a book about this someday. Okay, all of you just passed Economics 101. Now let's graduate to Econ 201, the benefits of competition and switching. And let's look at the relative pricing for 4 different groups of our customers. Group number 1, those of you who don't swap any of your service providers on an annual basis. You tend to keep the same people year to year. Second group, those who swap between 0 and 10% of your providers every year. Third group, those who swap between 10 and 20%. And finally, those of you who swap more than 20% of your service providers on an annual basis. Talk about another Captain Obvious moment. What we found out was that those who didn't swap at all had worse pricing than 65% of their peers in the market. Said another way, they're in the bottom third of the population with regards to getting the best price. Those who swapped between 0 and 10% did a little better, and those who swapped 10 to 20% did even better. But those who swapped 20% or more basically flipped the curve. They have better pricing than 64% of their colleagues in the market, performing in the best 1/3 when it comes to pricing. Does this surprise anybody? The shape of this curve or the trend it represents? Well, it shouldn't, but we all know that historically switching doesn't happen as often as it should, and there has often been a lack of data to substantiate what I should be paying. Please attend a Scout session. Not only will you be able to see what this chart looks like for you, but you'll be able to pick up your Economics 201 diploma in that session as well. Okay, now for some more straightforward stuff. No economics degrees here. No surprise, janitorial and cleaning work orders wins the gold medal for fastest growing work order category this year, while snow removal wins for the fastest shrinking. Hey, you have your good years and your bad years, right? Computer and assembly services were also big gainers. Maybe it has to do with more work from home, maybe just more trades and functions being put onto the ServiceChannel platform. And waste and recycling was also way up with a jump of almost 200,000 work orders year to date that we've already seen. Okay, let's talk about kitchen equipment. Last year we showed some reliability data for certain air conditioning brands. This year it's all about kitchen equipment. This chart shows the number of work orders in the first 3 years following installation of certain brands. And again, these are brands and averages, not by make and model, which you were probably more interested in over time. But when you need that data for your next negotiation with your equipment provider, please give us a call. 2020 was also a year of many storms, each of which we tracked, and it's pretty clear that not all hurricanes are created equal. Again, we show this not because we're going to be in the weather prediction business, right, or weather forecasting business, but if we can help you visualize and anticipate storms as they're brewing with our weather module and provide you with some historical data on damages and consequences, it just might help your ability to plan and be a bit more proactive. And in 2020, we learned more about board ups than we ever have. I can't tell you how many calls I fielded personally asking if we had industry board up data by region, by cost, by effectiveness. Here's some interesting board up stats. And as you might imagine, not all board ups are created equal. We saw a range of board up costs that ranged from a low of $124, yeah, somebody out there boarded up a location for $124, to over $31,000 for the most expensive board up of the year. So we took a segmented look at board ups by cost range, under $5K, $5,000 to $10,000, and over $10,000. By far, the majority of board ups cost less than $5,000. 121 brands out there have boarded up almost 1,500 locations this year at an average cost of a little over $1,000 per location. Another 135 locations were boarded up at an average cost of a little over $7,000 per location. And we saw 62 locations boarded up at an average cost of $15,271. Interestingly, when you look at the average vandalism repair cost at each of these three groups of locations, the least expensive board ups suffered the worst results with an average vandalism repair cost of $2,782, almost 3 times what it cost to board the location up in the first place. More expensive board ups seem to have much smaller vandalism damages, under $1,000 in the second category and down to just a few $100s in the third category. So I guess the conclusion is if you're going to do a board up, invest in the good stuff. By the way, we realize that the decision to board up or not board up is way more complex than this. We're not trying to give you a recommendation on when and how to do that. There's a lot of considerations with regard to brand reputation, anticipated loss via theft, which we don't track, and a number of other factors. But again, we're sharing this because some of the data is often better than none, and this may help you plan directionally when it's time again to do this. And finally, it's time to play the at-home version of the higher or lower game for 2020. Last year, we shared with you the number of work orders in the system attributed to bats, squirrels, alligators, car strikes, lightning, and crime scenes. Our job this year is to guess whether the 2020 numbers are higher or lower than the totals of 2019. Okay, here we go, bats. What's your vote? Got your ballots in? Higher. Good year for bats or bad year. Sorry about that, right? Squirrels. Got it? Again, great year for squirrels. Squirrels are way up this year. How about gators? How's everybody feel about their gator involvement this year? Gators also up. Animals doing very well in 2020. How about car strikes? Car strikes also up in 2020. A lot of stuff going on. Let's go to lightning. Some weather commentary here. Turns out lightning strikes were down in 2020. And finally, crime scenes. Waiting. Crime scenes also down in 2020. And look, I don't know if it's good news or bad news that there are fewer lightning strikes or crime scenes this year. It's maybe just indicative that you were preoccupied with a few other things in 2020. Okay, thanks for playing. That's definitely a lot more in the data, and we have a lot more data than ever before to look at. We'll continue to dig in on your behalf and look forward to sharing more with you next year. Now let's move on to a quick discussion of some new product capabilities. We want to highlight a few breakthroughs from 2020 and a few more coming in 21 that have the real opportunity to be game changers for everyone. A number of you have already used some of these new tools with some very interesting use cases and results. And another big spoiler alert, please watch closely all the way to the end, as there will be some lovely parting gifts for everyone. You will not want to miss that part. And with that, let me hand it over to Vijay.
Thank you, Tom. I'm Vijay Ramakrishnan, Head of Product Marketing at ServiceChannel. And the first thing I want to say is thank you to all of you for attending ServiceX 2020. As Tom mentioned, we'll be taking a little bit of a look back and a look forward as well. The innovation engine has been revving hard here at ServiceChannel, but in the interest of not making this an hours-long keynote, we're going to be covering just a few select highlights across how we want to help you do three important things: make every minute productive, get the most out of your assets, and drive decisions with richer data. Let's start with making every minute productive. Why is this a focus? Put simply, because time is scarce. If you're a facility manager, you never have enough minutes in a day to put out all the fires. You need to prioritize your attention and your resources. You need to take action quickly. The first innovation we delivered this year to make every minute productive was ServiceChannel Projects, which makes you as productive with complex work, like this HVAC retrofit project, as you are with everyday work. The challenge with these complex work plans is that they span work across multiple trades, providers, and work orders. And you told us that the spreadsheets you use to track all this and keep things on time and on budget were a huge time sink. That was our motivation to build ServiceChannel Projects. It eliminates that time sink with a central view of related work across trades and providers, a central view into timing, status, and costs without having to hunt down multiple records or keep spreadsheets up to date. That means FMs can instantly identify bottlenecks, and they can take action to keep things on time and on budget. And it's not just FMs that save time with projects. Real estate and construction teams that are developing plans and budgets save time as well. A requirement for developing an accurate capital plan for the future is an accurate understanding of the past. And historical actuals can be painful to piece together by collecting information from dozens of invoices. ServiceChannel Projects provides a central view of completed projects as well, by different budget categories. So teams can build accurate plans faster using instant access to historical data on specific types of capital projects. With ServiceChannel Projects, you'll be able to keep projects on track and on budget without wasting time in spreadsheets. You'll make well-informed decisions on future projects. And not only that, you can tightly control project costs by managing competitive bidding and automated approvals. If you're interested in hearing how your peers are using projects, check out the breakout session on Thursday on reliable revenue machines, where Mark Franzen from CarMax will be sharing how they're saving time and money with projects. The next innovation we delivered this year to make FMs even more productive was the map view for work orders. FMs are bombarded constantly with communications from location staff, providers, management, and their own staff. Last year, we asked ourselves how we could help FMs stay focused on what's important in the midst of all of these interruptions. And the answer was the map view. It provides a bird's eye view of everything that's happening in a region. So even though the last text that this FM got might have been from their store manager in Atlanta, the map view reminds them that the hotspot that needs attention now is Miami. They can zoom in to understand why Miami is a hotspot, see that it's because of the 12 P1s in the region, and then quickly switch to the details of the work orders to make sure they're on a path to getting fixed. The dispatch confirmed status is a good sign here. And then they can turn their attention back to lower priority issues. But we didn't stop there with the map view. We took it one step further to help FMs in situations that are even more stressful than usual. And that's in dealing with unpredictable weather events. With ServiceChannel Weather, we brought overlays to the maps view of work orders, so FMs can track events like hurricanes, snowstorms, even fires, Now, in the event of extreme weather like a hurricane, when the FM activates the overlay, they'll see the expected path of the hurricane, see which locations are at risk, and with a few clicks, they can pick the locations they'd like to protect and issue a batch work order for protective measures like boarding to keep these locations and assets as safe as possible. Both maps and weather equip facilities managers with the information they need to make the most of every minute. They provide the big picture and at the same time flag exceptions so nothing falls through the cracks. And they give them agility when things are most unpredictable so they can quickly protect what matters. Earlier this year, when it was clear we were in a record-setting storm season in the US, we made weather available for free to all of our customers. And judging by the over $8 million worth of weather-related work orders you've put through ServiceChannel so far, protecting your assets in weather events has tremendous value. It only takes minutes to set up, so please contact your customer success manager if you think you may ever need it. The next significant area where we focused our attention is helping you get the most out of your assets. Now, in just the last 2 years, the number of assets you're managing on the platform has shot up by an astounding 290%. So we know you're counting on us more and more to reduce downtime and optimize spend. And in the last several years, we've been innovating to help you do just that. Today, I want to call out 2 innovations that we're particularly excited about bringing to you in the next year. Now, when you hear the phrase asset management, the first images that typically come to mind are of machines and metal. But the truth is, people have an incredibly important role in the asset repair workflow. We count on location staff to promptly and accurately report trouble so that downtime is minimized, and we need to keep them up to date on fixes so they can make in-the-moment decisions on workarounds or setting customer expectations. And with 100 other things on their plate, like restocking the shelves, if any of these things takes more than a few seconds, they get backburnered and the customer experience is compromised. So last year, we set out to reimagine the human experience of managing machines because it has a huge impact on the asset repair workflow. The result is ServiceChannel floor plans, a spatial and visual view of assets that delivers game-changing ease of use. And we're excited to give you a sneak peek right now. ServiceChannel floor plans mirrors the lived experience of the location. All the assets at the location are seen as icons on the map. And reporting a problem with an asset is as simple as panning, zooming, and clicking, something everyone already knows how to do with mapping apps on their phones. So there's no need to get trained on an experience as simple as this, and no need to get trained on the meaning of problem types or asset names, because all of those details from the ServiceChannel asset database are automatically pre-populated into the work order details. After clicking on the asset, the only thing they need to do is specify what's wrong. And once problems are reported, open problems are available for quick access as well. So when an employee or manager starts a shift, they can check on the status of down assets or scheduled maintenance with a click of a button, whether these issues have been automatically reported by IoT, reported by someone on the last shift, or scheduled by facilities. And so with a click of that button, they know exactly what they need to do as they start their shift in order to manage the floor and manage customer expectations. With floor plans, I suppose you could say we're blowing the roof off the user experience. And those of you who have been working with us on it have told us as much. Your operations team and location staff will be able to tap into game-changing ease of use and productivity, and facilities teams can rest easy knowing that any issues with assets get reported promptly and accurately. Floor plans are already in testing with some of you, and we'll be expanding our rollout in the coming year, including using floor plans not just for in-the-moment interactions, but as visualizations for asset analytics. Speaking of data, that brings us to the next exciting innovation around getting the most out of your assets. Data is crucial to managing every aspect of your asset lifecycle, from making decisions about which assets to replace and what to replace them with. Let's take the case of that capital project to replace HVAC equipment. As you get ready to do this, looking at the historical repair costs for equipment you already own may be a helpful indicator of reliability. For example, it might make intuitive sense to pick the brand that's had lower repair costs. But the issue is, not all the repair costs are a reflection of quality issues. Some may be a result of the asset's environment. What's helpful is richer data on exactly what caused the need for the repair and what the resolution for that repair was, so you can base your decisions on the right kinds of repair costs. To meet the need for deeper visibility into asset health, we've been piloting some new capabilities with a number of you. Capabilities to capture and analyze information on root causes and resolution details. Let's take a quick look. As that technician checks out using the ServiceChannel Provider mobile app, she's going to be prompted to enter a resolution code that provides more details on how the issue with that HVAC was resolved. From a range of standardized codes, she picks repair panels. Next, she's prompted to enter a root cause, again from a list of standardized causes. She picks active nature, which indicates this repair wasn't due to some inherent manufacturing or operating defect of the HVAC, which would have been the case had she picked manufacturer defect or recall. By capturing this data and making it available to you in analytics, resolution codes effectively give you richer data on asset health. But we'll be rolling out resolution codes not just for HVAC, but for 9 other trades as well, early next year with our R1 release. So you'll be able to pinpoint recurring issues that trigger work orders, determine strategies to avoid or reduce those new work orders, and the resolution codes and root causes will be standard across ServiceChannel, so your providers will have a consistent experience and will be able to deliver out-of-the-box analytics, so you can put this richer data to use right away. So in the past few minutes, we've covered innovations that touch on capital projects, managing weather events, assets, and you may have noticed that they invariably touched on data, at least in part. And that's because data is at the heart of everything we do for you. To close out this look into future innovations, I'd like to preview how we're going to help you drive decisions with even richer data. Insights that aren't just based on your own operations, but on richer industry-level insights. As Tom mentioned earlier, we have the richest provider data in the industry, 4.7 billion data points generated annually, spanning tens of thousands of providers. This data tells us what trades they work, where they do that work, as well as how fast and how well. Tom also mentioned some of the amazing results you've achieved with the Scout team, who use this data on how well providers perform relative to each other to assess your entire network and improve it. But what if you want to find just a provider or two to fill a gap in your network? Is the data valuable in that case too? Absolutely, which is why we're incorporating this rich provider performance data directly into an all-new provider search and recommendation experience. With the new search, when you search for a provider, the results will be sorted by each provider's performance on the platform, factors such as speed or quality. And because the results take performance into account, you can be confident your shortlist has the top industry performers. And you can also be confident that these providers do work in your area without having to ask them. Because with the new search, when you look at a provider's profile, you'll see a map of their coverage area that reflects the locations where they've completed work using ServiceChannel. Richer objective data on providers, what trades, where, how fast, and how well, all of that richer data incorporated right into the software, making it the first search experience in the industry where results reflect performance. For a closer look at the new search, please join our breakout session on Thursday on the secret ingredient, how to source the right provider. And if you'd like to try it yourself, you won't have to wait long, as it will be generally available early next year with our R1 release. Both Scout and Provider Search are examples of putting the power of industry-level data at your fingertips, but they're just the beginning. Earlier this year, we updated ServiceChannel Analytics with a new user interface, a new front end to make analytics even easier to use. We had a second goal in making that update, and that was to help with something you don't see yet, but will in the near future. Under the hood, new analytics also features a brand new data engine that's faster at processing data, not just at customer scale, but at industry scale. And because of that, you'll have industry level comparisons, benchmarks at your fingertips as you make decisions. And on your analytics reports with benchmarking, you'll also be able to see how your metrics compare with industry level metrics for performance. So with the new analytics foundation we've put in place for 2020, we're putting you in a position to drive decisions based on much richer data in the future. When it comes to building a better future together, we'll continue pushing on how we can make every minute productive for you, how we can help you get the most out of your assets, and how we can help you drive decisions with richer data. Before we wrap, I want to shift the conversation from the future to the present for a moment. The theme for ServiceX is building a better future together. The word together is significant, and for ServiceChannel, that means being a great partner. We know that 2020 has been a trying year, and that almost everyone has been asked to deliver on new and higher expectations, even as they have fewer resources to work with. Back in August, when it became clear that we were in the midst of a record-setting hurricane season, we decided to make ServiceChannel weather available for free. To keep pushing that spirit of partnership further, I'm excited to announce that we're making 5 additional modules available for free as well, to make it easier for you to take advantage of innovations that we've already built. Now, I'll make just the briefest of introductions to each of these modules, so you can pick out which ones to discuss further with your customer success manager. First, rate validation that provides automatic validation that invoices are at contracted rates and for correct hours based on check-in and check-out. So you can reduce billing leakage, reduce costs, improve accountability. Next, proposal recommendations that provide automated recommendations on whether to approve or reject a proposal based on an analysis of past proposals. So you can speed those approvals up and speed up issue resolution. Supply manager that enables location staff to source supplies from central catalogs so you can simplify procurement workflows, reduce supply costs, and standardize supplies. Site access that enables you to define standard protocols for authorizing technician access and check-ins so you can minimize distractions for location staff and regulate access to locations. Site planning that enables you to define standard audits, report on results, and initiate corrective work so you can ensure compliance with brand health and safety standards. And finally, weather, which as we covered earlier can help you identify at-risk locations and quickly take protective measures so you can reduce damage and downtime for locations and assets. Obviously, there's a lot more to these modules than just these headlines, and we're making all of them available for free as of January 1st. But if you'd like to take advantage of any of them right away, please reach out to your customer success manager. When it comes to a better future, we're committed to making it happen for you. It's what drove us to make these modules available at no cost, and it's what drives us to deliver the groundbreaking innovations I reviewed earlier. I want to thank you for your time, and with that, I'll hand it back to Tom.
Thanks, Vijay, and thanks again, everyone, for your participation in the next few days. But more importantly, thanks for your long-term partnership. As I mentioned earlier, we could not be prouder of the company we keep, and we don't take an ounce of that for granted. This is very much a journey we'll continue to invest in, and we look forward to absolutely building a better future together.